Morning, everybody. What a pleasure to be here. And especially, I'm like, hi, for, the South Africa Yallies, because that's our people that I know. But welcome to all of you who have come from elsewhere in Southern Africa. We are so happy to have you here with us. You join an amazing crew of South Africa Yallies, and they, I know, are properly welcoming you and showing you all that this wonderful country has to offer. As I join you on the third, and I'm like, oh my God, the third such conference, it's really a pleasure for me because this honestly, for me as the Chargé at the U.S. Mission in South Africa, and for my State Department and USAID colleagues who are here and here and here, and make sure you meet all of us during the conference, this is honestly one of the best, most exciting things that we do. As we as diplomats think about connecting with your countries, the most exciting part is, of course, connecting with the people of those countries, and that's you. And our connection with you, I think, is meaningful for us at a personal level, but it's also how we think about growing the future of our bilateral relationships. The Yali program it's an extraordinary one. It's for us really about connecting with the future and the leadership of this region. For us, as the United States, we see our future truly as being part of a global world, and the more prosperous, the more stable, the more inclusive our global partners are, the better. And all of you represent that. You are the ones who will drive positive social, economic, political change in your countries. As we've gone through the Yali program, and I think for those who've worked on it, it's really changed over time. A couple of the core values, though, that have come from the program is it's about the individual, but the individual in a network. What do I mean? I mean that a lot of the work that you do in the program is about you. It's about yourself. There's something fundamentally and positively selfish as you gain skills, you gain experiences, you think about yourselves as leaders. But none of us can make impact and meaningful change on our own. All of us do it in concert, whether that's in concert because we're working together or in concert because we're part of a network. And the network is so much of what the Yali program brings, especially as you move from fellow to alumni. And this is your network. This is your group that will bring you forward. And I really urge you to think about the group in a way that's both positive and negative. A lot of times we look to the network to boost us, to tell us how great we are and what we're doing. Definitely do that. I mean, we all like that. But also push the network, push the group to test you, to challenge you, to talk about what you haven't done yet, and maybe to give you some of the more difficult, really the more challenging feedback, to be honest. That's what a lot, I think, of you'll get sort of from your next couple days. I have to say, in terms of the next couple of days, actually, one of the things that really struck me is the way in which you've owned the conference agenda. And a lot of times I think we can enter into a conference in a way that's almost passive, right? You sit, you drink coffee, you listen, you take it in. But a lot of the Yali message is about taking the information, taking the opportunity, and then owning it. And this conference, in many ways, reflects that, because you have, through the communities of practice that have been referred to, you've really owned the material and said, this is what we want to get out of these next 2 days. And I think that's exactly the right approach. Take the next 2 days and use it in a way, shape it and use it in a way that best serves you. I also really hope that you'll use the conference to connect with one another. I know that the Rutgers crew is gonna want to get together and catch up on that, and do it. But make sure you keep the connections across, and make sure you get a chance to know a little bit more about one another. And I say that because from those of you whom I know, you will so benefit from doing that. And in that sort of spirit, I'd love to share a little bit of stories about some of the folks who are in this audience and share a little bit with you about what some of you have already done. So Emmanuel Hango, who's a fellow from Namibia, he has worked with his mentor and is now ready to present his startup to investors. He is the founder of Profile Namibia, which aims to fight cholera through water purification, which he's identified as a gap in the Namibian market. So this year, his company will begin producing chlorine by electrolyzing salt using solar energy by the end of this year. So if you want to hear about that, find Emmanuel. Give him the props and also test his ideas and learn from him. I'd also highlight Tseho Nufan from South Africa, who leveraged his fellowship experience to focus on developing a large-scale rural solar project in Zambia that will provide clean energy for new industry and surrounding communities. Working with the private sector, Tseho wants to make sure the benefits of this large infrastructure program are felt locally. So thank you, Tseho. I think for us, one of the sort of favorite, well, we don't have a favorite, but a wonderful testament to the cross-regional platform that Yali can present is Chuba Moyo from Zimbabwe and Zintle Razija from South Africa, who were together at Rutgers, in fact, and both social entrepreneurs and experts in the renewable energy space. They, in fact, have collaborated together to establish a social venture to produce clean cook stoves. This startup intends to manufacture and distribute 100,000 improved biomass cook stoves in rural communities across the region. So I think they're not here today, actually. But that regional connectivity is so important because it expands your network, it identifies common problems, ensures that we're learning across countries, and also recognizing that so many of the region's challenges are shared. So I would urge you in conversations to sort of share your success, but as I think about what the sort of 3 stories I've just noted or the 3 individuals I've highlighted, recognizing I could have highlighted another 100, the interesting thing is that I also could have shared with you stories of failure. And in my mind, that would have been equally valuable. Many of you are entrepreneurs. Whether you think of yourselves as entrepreneurs or not, you are, because you're innovating, you're testing, you're moving the needle, and that is entrepreneurial spirit. And that generally involves some kind of failure. And so I love that we started today on a story of being not hired, but fired, because that's where the learning is, that's where the testing is, that's where the growing is. And to me, if you never fail, you gotta question whether you took sufficient risk. So I've talked a little bit about sort of the network that all of you have, and I would just highlight that your network is also growing, that while all of you are here moving from fellow to alum, just have that moment of remembering a year ago when you moved from applicant to fellow. And there is now the new 2017 cohort, and they are great. They are inspiring to me, but honestly inspired by all of you. And I had the chance to have actually all of the new cohort at my house in Pretoria a couple of weeks ago, and they are the next you, and I think exciting in that regard. And we had as our featured guest speaker, Ridi Talabi, who certainly South Africans in the audience know. She is an amazing, inspirational, really pushing the boundary radio talk show host here, and her advice was great. She said, as a leader, you must use every avenue available, every resource at your disposal to make a difference. As young professionals, you must align your purpose and your passion to something far bigger than yourself. So align your purpose and your passion to something far bigger than yourself, right? So true leadership requires the individual. It requires the individual who is visionary, who is courageous. But if your leadership only serves yourself, then I would say it is not true. It is fundamentally about changing the lives around you, changing your communities, changing your countries, and changing the world. And this next 2 days of conference offers you an extraordinary platform to think about that, to take the moment, to take the time to reflect on, as has been said before, the leadership journey wherever you believe you began it, whether, and I certainly know it didn't start with us, though I believe we were a huge part of it, but your leadership journey began earlier than that. So take the time to reflect on what that journey has been, where it's gotten you to, and where you want to take it. As we said to you a year ago, this is not a one-off program. This is a program that is a much longer commitment. Frankly, it's a much longer commitment that we ask of all of you, that we ask you to give one another, that we ask you to give the fellows who follow you. But it's also a longer commitment from our perspective from the US government. We are all in on you. We have spent the last year with you and want to see the next however many years and stay supporting you, growing you, contributing to your network as we can, contributing to you as individuals. For the US government and the US people, you represent a tremendous partnership and also opportunity for growth, for collaboration, for partnership. And so we are so happy to be on that journey with you.